Peru earthquake in 1970 by Eugene. In 1970, Peru had the biggest earthquake ever recorded in Peru. The earthquake was an underwater earthquake that occurred on May 31st. The earthquake struck on a Sunday afternoon at 3:23 local time and lasted 45 seconds. The epicenter of the earthquake was located 35 kilometers or 21.7 miles off the coast of Casma and Chimbote. It had a magnitude of 7.9 on the Richter scale and 8 on the Mercalli intensity scale. Luckily, there was no tsunami. The earthquake was so big, tremors could be felt in Lima, about 400 miles away. 90% of the buildings sustained a lot of damage. The death toll was about 3,000 people and left more than 800,000 homeless. TV reporters said 17 people were killed and dozens injured when the Sinar de Loren church in Ica collapsed during evening mass. Callers said many homes in poor neighborhoods in Ica and places near Chincha had collapsed, and that several cities had no electricity. The earthquake also destabilized the northern wall of Mount Huascarán, causing an avalanche. The earthquake triggered half of the mountain of Nevada Huascarán to fall off. The landslide speed was about 200 miles per hour. 6,000 lives were lost in the avalanche. The Peru earthquake was actually a multiple shock earthquake. The first shock was a magnitude of about 5. Within 20 seconds, there were at least 4 larger earthquakes, 2 which were a magnitude of 7. A citizen in Lima told an interesting story. Usually, you don't feel a tremor when outside, but the pavement was rippling, so I fled to the park where the ground continued to move under my feet. What was even more frightening was the roar of the quake, coupled with the sky lighting up. It was surreal. It felt like we had stepped onto the set of some war movie, says a resident of Lima. The Housing Ministry established an emergency shelter committee to evaluate the damage to provide temporary shelter. 12,400 tents were distributed along with 19 tons of building materials and 602 tons of building equipment and tools. Tombstones mark the areas where homes used to stand. The old cathedral remains half buried and huge fragments lay scattered about. An old bus lays half buried and twisted upside down from the mountain. As you can see, the Peru earthquake in 1970 was a very tragic event.